What's happening, everyone? Your semi-ginger nutritionist is in the podcast scene. I have been a bit of a shithouse over the last few months. I think it was maybe late November when I posted my last one. I just really got a habit. Been busy, but yeah, obviously that's an excuse that everyone chucks around. But I am really hoping this year, despite any challenges and time obstacles, I will find a way of just churning out some podcasts relatively consistently, because I just think it is so beneficial, not only for me to formulate my ideas in more of a longer context, but also add in a bit more detail that just ain't possible on social media. Everyone's attention spans are getting worse and worse. It's a real thing. I feel it myself. So longer form is, I like to take people off that sort of hub of social media and something where you can just put a bit more thought and consume it in a bit more detail and add a few more complexities around it. I digress. So from my little hiatus, when I was thinking how I could get back into it, there was a couple of things that came up and they're very much related. Firstly, my message is so much about breaking that all or nothing cycle, not just going from doing something to doing nothing, seeing life as a bit of a dimmer switch where you have more or less energy, not this on or off, black or white thinking. And I still so believe. However, I fully appreciate, for whatever reason, there will be times where you do come to a complete standstill, where you might just stop exercising completely. You might get into a bad rut of not making breakfast, getting those takeaways, whatever the issue is. And in these situations, I think momentum is huge. I love to use momentum with my clients in a positive way. I realise that a few small changes can create a lot of forward action, forward energy. I don't know, I'm just dressing around the fact of saying momentum again. But it works the same in a negative context. So when a few things start going wrong, you miss a certain session, you miss like planning your meals, it can create a cascade of negative events and just create that negative momentum that we really don't want, and things can come to a bit of a standstill. So full transparency, that has happened to me, so I can completely resonate if that has ever happened to you, or even if it's happened to you right now with your exercise or healthy eating or whatever habit you're trying to implement. But then the kind of follow-up point for that is that how can we break this momentum? How can we get things going? And the way we can do this is by really scaling down the thing that we're trying to implement. Because often we get ourselves into a bit of a headspace where doing the thing, so for instance, for me, is doing this podcast, you start to build up like quite an aura around it where it can be quite overwhelming. I don't know, describe a podcast with the word aura before, but we're rolling with it today. But in like more health and fitness settings, you might start to think, I think it's going to be so shit, I can't go for a run. Or if I go to the gym, everyone's going to see how weak I am, things like that. But yeah, you start to put it on a pedestal a bit and build it up to be this thing that insurmountable. So what we need to do here is really shrink the habit, lower the bar for what constitutes like success. So for me here, I did this podcast with no notes, sort of 10 minutes thinking about it last night, just absolutely winging it. Because for me, the whole process of like planning it, my notes, then doing the audio description and all that jazz, the thing as a whole became quite overwhelming. So for me, I've gone, this one I'm not preparing. I appreciate the fact you're listening, but I actually don't even care if this one's good. Hopefully you can find some lessons from the things we're talking about. There's kind of common struggles here. But I'm not going to do a video. My description's going to be minimal. Probably use ChatGPT, to be fair. I'm just really making it as easy or as frictionless as possible to do the thing. This first one, probably the next one, are just about getting the rep in. I don't really care about the quality of it. And that's the same with your health and fitness journey. So instead of thinking like going for a run has to be this like 45 minutes thing, so you do your bodies in, going 5 minutes around the block is absolutely fine. That's so much better than doing nothing. A couple of weeks doing the odd 5 minute run, move up to 10, 15. And again, once you've got momentum, it's so much easier. Equally in the gym, you're absolutely within your rights to the gym and just sit a bike for 10 minutes. Just do your warm up, anything like that. If the whole session is too overwhelming, if that time commitment is too much, just do that. Even do a home workout, anything that is just creating that positive momentum. And from a nutrition point of view, maybe instead of thinking, to start eating healthy means I've got to start cooking all these elaborate meals that you may have done even in the past. But if you have been relying on takeaways, for instance, then getting a microwave rice and some like shredded chicken or tofu with just a salad pack, that's absolutely fine. If you the ready meals, but pick ones that are much more health conscious, mindful of calories, mindful of saturated fat, salt, things like that. Anything you're doing that is better than what you're currently doing is progress. And I think sometimes we overestimate what constitutes progress. So that is my message to you today is, number one, it's okay if you do come to a complete standstill. With my clients, it's definitely something I help them avoid. And I think that accountability of a coach is so much easier because there is someone checking in. It's not just answering to yourself. So I guess that is a little segue into my coaching. I can really help you facilitate not going into this all or nothing cycle. Sometimes even you might, and that is okay. So then if we're trying to get out of that, the idea is to shrink the habit, reduce the friction, and just get the first few reps on the board. And then you'll find that it gets so much easier after. So I hope you took some value from that. And I promise I will be speaking to you soon. And if not, you have permission to call me out on it. See ya.